on once again. It's been a minute on this Carlton replay, but we're back with start number 8 against the Chicago Cubs. And it'll be Steve Carlton against Bill Hands, I should say, starting for the Cubbies. Carlton comes into this game with a record of 5-1, a 1.45 ERA. Hopefully you can see that on your screen. He will be facing the following lineup: Kessinger at short, Beckert at second, Williams at left, Hickman at first, Fanzone at third, Cardinal in right, Hundley catching, Mundy in center, and Hands pitching. Trying something different. I'm going to use ball roller in this one to give me more room and help the score sheet be bigger, because that dice tray does take up a lot of room, unfortunately. But so we're going to try it and see what happens. The black die on this ball roller is the 10s, and the white die is the 1s. So if we were roll this, that would end up being a 69 on the 2D10s, and of course the two red ones are obviously a 7. So that's the way that's going to work. Veterans Stadium, wheelhouse is 1 to 29 for lefties, 1 to 55 for righties. Got our fast action cards here. I'm going to cut the deck and then flip them over, and we'll go from there. That one's got upside down, so let's do this again. Let's turn them around. You know what? We're just going to shuffle. How about that? We're just going to shuffle and then flip them over. It's about as random as we're going to get right there. Okay, so we'll start with that. All right, so the first batter is Don Kessinger, and like I said, this is I'm trying something a little different with this ball roller. I don't know how it's going to work out. I took all the sounds off, so you're not going to hear the ball roller sounds or any of the stadium sounds at all. It's just me, and because sometimes those stadium sounds can get a little loud, and it also come in there. A lot of times they're not in sync with what's going on in the game. I did try to put in the window for the manual entry so you can see how that is working. So first things first, Steve Carlton against Don Kessinger. I do have my pen. I am going to score the game real world on the score sheet, as well as you can see what's on the computer. So we get the ball rolling, pardon the pun, with this ball roller, and see what we get. First roll is a 5 for Carlton, which is tough, and a 38 for Kessinger. Tough 38's out of range. It only goes to 32. 38's a pop to first. So we come over here to our manual entry, pop it up to first, and there's one away. Kessinger is retired, and here is batter number 2, Glenn Beckert, second baseman. See what we get for that on the ball roller. We get an 11 on Carlton, which is tough. 63, well out of range. Tough 63 is well out of range. That's going to be a ground ball to second. So a simple ground ball to Denny Doyle. And we are at 2 away. 2 up, 2 down. And here's Billy Williams. Billy Williams, a left fielder. 8 is going to be tough, and 55, that's just out of range. 55 will be a ground ball to third, and that'll end the inning. Did I say ground ball to third? Did I? Not short. 55 was a ground ball to third, absolutely. All right, so half inning is over. No score for the Cubbies, and that'll bring up the Phillies, and it'll bring up Bill Hands. Bill Hands is the starting pitcher. First up for the Phils is going to be Larry Boa. And like I said, hopefully by having this stuff on the screen, I won't have to sit there and read off all the averages and everything else. You can see that for yourself. And hopefully that will streamline things. I don't know. Like I said, I'm tweaking this thing every single time I try this thing. I'm tweaking it. Sometimes I do it and the audio is all messed up, and I have to try 5 or 6 times to get it right. I have no idea how this is going to turn out. We'll find out when the recording's over. If it's screwed up, of course, you won't hear it. One thing I did forget to mention, well, I don't have to mention it because it's on the screen. Now, a lot of things I am used to mentioning are actually on the screen now, so I don't have to do that. All right, so we get our ball roller going. That's a 9, and Hands is not. That's a tough. Larry Boa, 20. 20 in the tough section is a strikeout against right-handed pitching. The last number in the strikeout, but strikeout indeed, and Boa is out on strikes. That'll bring up Tim McCarver, number 2 hitter. McCarver stepping to the plate against Mr. Hands. That's a 4 in play. Look at all those in plays on Bill Hands' card. 57, though, is going to be well out of range. 57 will be a fly to left. And McCarver will fly out to Billy Williams for out number 2. And that'll bring up Willie Montañez. Montañez playing in center field. And here's the pitch from Hands. It's a 5, which again is in play, but a 19 for Montañez. In play 19 is a base hit. So Willie Montañez gets the base hit. He will be at first base. His steal is a 2. The 2d6s were a 5, so that does not fall into him getting the lead. He'll stay at first base for Greg Luzinski. And we'll see what Luzinski can do against Mr. Hands. That's an 8, which is tough. 86, well out of range. 86 is a ground ball to short. And we're just going to say he throws it to first to keep it simple. Since it's the 3rd out of the inning, we would have checked for a double. It would not have been a double play because the 2d6s are an 8 and Hands is only a 7. So it would have been a fielder's choice. So I guess technically we'll call it a fielder's choice. 6-4 to end the inning. So 1 inning is in the books. And we got no score from the vet. Carlton back out. And he'll be facing Jim Hickman. First baseman Hickman against Carlton. 5 is tough, and 07, that will be definitely be a strikeout. And you get those tough low numbers. They are strikeouts. Carlton registering the strikeout. And that'll send us to Carmen Fanzone. 4 on Carlton is tough, and 25 for Fanzone is another strikeout. So another strikeout for Carlton. 2 up and 2 down. Not sure why it's showing Carlton with 3 strikeouts. I only got him for 2 strikeouts, unless I, entered something incorrectly, which I may have done. Let me go back and look at just give me a play-by-play account. Let's go to reports for play-by-play real quick. I just want to see if it's giving me, yeah, see, it's counting Beckert as a strikeout, and that's incorrect, so I've got to adjust that number. Why I entered strikeout for that, I have no idea, but it was a 4-3 ground out. I remember that exclusively, so I've got to fix that in the end. So Carlton only has 2 strikeouts, not 3. All right, here is Cardinal. That is an 8, and 8 on Carlton is tough. 33, and that is another strikeout. Ends the inning. We go to so Carlton strikes out the side here in the 2nd. We go to the bottom of the 2nd. Still no score. Bill Hands back out. Will face Tommy Hutton. Tommy Hutton, first baseman. We get a 4, which is in play, and a 64. In play, 64, way out of range. That's a ground ball to short. And there is 1 away, just that quickly. Hutton is retired. Brings up the 3rd baseman, Don Money. Money. 9 is going to be tough. 81, that's definitely out of range. 81's a fly to center. So 2 down very quickly. Bill Hands doing pretty well for himself early on. And Ron Stone, the batter. A 6 is in play. 23, going to be out of range though. In play only goes to 18. 23 is going to be a pop-up to short. And that'll be taken by Kessinger to end the inning. So at the end of 2 complete, we got no score from the vet. Carlton back out. And he will be facing Randy Hundley, the catcher. 7 hitter. We get an 8, which is tough. 75, and that's out of range. 75 is a fly to center, and that is one away. Oh, I'm not doing my score sheet correctly. That's the problem. Why wasn't I scoring the stuff down here? I don't know. For some reason I forgot to score the Phillies stuff. So let me go look at these reports real quick and get the play-by-play so that I can properly score these games. All right, Boa struck out. McCarver flied to left. Montañez singled. And Luzinski fielder's choice 6-4. I don't know why I was, like I said, this is a new thing here a new setup that I'm trying with this ball roller, and it's kind of messing me up a little bit. So Hutton grounded to short, Money flied to center. Oops. And Stone popped up to short. All right, so now we're back in business, I do believe. So top of the third, and we had Hundley flying out to center field. So now we're ready to go for Rick Monday. And the roll is a 6, which is patient. 14, and that's going to be a walk to Rick Monday. 2-out walk to Rick Monday. Or 1-out walk to Rick Monday, I should say. Base on balls. That's a 6. Monday is a 4, so he cannot steal. It is bringing up the pitcher, Bill Hands. So we're going to go ahead and bunt with Bill Hands. And I'll go ahead, for simplicity's sake, I'll use the fast action cards. Bill Hands bunting is, according to his card, is a C. So he's a C bunter. So we take the fast action card and just flip it over. Look at the sacrifice side. And it says possible error on the third baseman. Third baseman is Don Money. We'll look at Don Money's error rating. Don Money's error rating, according to this, is a 4. So we go to the ballpark card for a 4 on the error rating. 1 to 20 will be an error, so we flip this. We get an 88. There is no error on the play, so it's going to be a good sacrifice by Bill Hands. Good sacrifice by Hands. So we had the walk, and now Hands with the sacrifice. It's going to go 5-4. And now standing at second base with 2 outs is going to be Rick Monday. With the top of the order, Don Kessinger coming to bat. Kessinger against Carlton. That's a 6. Patient again. 92, though, is going to be well out of range. Or no, it won't. Not against Kessinger. Look at that. 92 is actually going to be a triple. For most people, that would be out of range, but not for Kessinger. A 91 to 93 is a triple. How do you like that? That's an RBI triple for Don Kessinger. And the Cubs take a 1-0 lead. Didn't see that one coming. Scoring is Monday. And the Cubbies lead it 1-0. First triple of the replay for Kessinger. He had 6 of them real world. That brings up Glenn Beckert. That's an 8, which is tough. 36. 36 tough is going to be a line out right to the second baseman Doyle. And that will end the inning. But the Cubbies take a 1-0 lead thanks to the triple by Glenn Beckert. 1-0 as we go to the bottom of the third. So it's a little bit, I'm trying to score it on the sheet, but I got the score sheet on the computer too. I'm using the computer too, so it's kind of a dance I have to do to make sure I don't forget certain things. Here is Denny Doyle, the number 8 hitter. He will face Mr. Hands. That's a 10, which is ballpark. Ballpark, and that's a 31. That's going to be in play because Doyle 1-29 lefty. So it's going to be an in play for Doyle. So with Doyle's in play result against a right-hander needs a 32 or less to get a hit. That's a 31, so that will be a base hit for Denny Doyle. Denny Doyle with a leadoff single, and that will allow Carlton to bunt, as Carlton's time is come to bunt. So we bring out Carlton's pitcher card to get his bunt rating, which is again a C. So we're going to go through the same process. We're going to flip the fast action card. It says it's a good sacrifice hit to the pitcher. So he's going to bunt it back to So Doyle let's see here. I didn't write down the thing again, so I need to boy, this is getting to be a little bit hanky here. He did single. Wasn't sure if he singled or walked, but he did single. But it's a good sacrifice for Carlton back to hands. So it's going to be sacrifice 1 to 4, and that will move Mr. Doyle to scoring position with 1 out, and we go back to the top of the order for Larry Boa. Boa struck out his first chance. 10 is going to be a ballpark again. 21. This one's going to be a wheelhouse because 1 to 29 is right there. So we go to Boa's wheelhouse. He cannot hit a home run, but he can still get a hit. That's an 0-2. He's going to get a triple. Look at that. 2 through 6 in the wheelhouse is a triple. We just flipped a 2. So a triple for Larry Boa, and a triple from each side has now tied the game. And they happened by the leadoff man after a sacrifice bunt. Turns out the sacrifice bunt wasn't needed, but we didn't know that going in. So now there's only 1 out, though. Before there were 2 outs when the Cubs did it. Now it's only 1 out, so Cubs are going to bring the infield in, try to cut off a potential cheap run. So the infield is in for Tim McCarver. We get a 6, which is in play, 86. 86 is a ground ball to second, and with the infield in, they will hold the runners. They're not going to take a chance. So ground ball to second, the infield is in, the runner has to hold. 2 down, it's up to Willie Montañez to bring home the run against Bill Hands. We get an 8, which is tough. 71, that's out of range, it only goes to 57. So that'll be a ground ball to short, and that will do it. That will end the inning. But the Phillies do tie it on the triple, courtesy of Mr. Larry Boa. We are tied at a run apiece. Carlton back out will face Billy Williams, Jim Hickman, and Carmen Fanzone. 3, 4, and 5 hitters, heart of the order. 4 is tough, and 92, that's definitely out of range. 92 is a ground ball to second. Denny Doyle will take care of that easily. 1 down for Jim Hickman. Hickman, a 4 is tough. 97, that's going to be a fly to left field. Luzinski makes the play. 2 down for Carmen Fanzone. 4 is tough. 11, that's going to be a strikeout. It's the 4th strikeout for Carlton, despite what the computer is showing as 5 because I inputted it incorrectly. But that is the 4th strikeout. And again, I'm doing this stuff on the computer, forget to put it on the score sheet. So let me go back to the reports and get my play-by-play so I can get this stuff straight. Williams grounded to second. Hickman fly to left, and then a strikeout there. So strikeout number 5 for Carlton. I'm sorry, number 4 for Carlton. Struck out the 3 here. The computer's going to say 5, but it's really 4. So nothing doing there for the Cubbies in the 4th. We're still tied at 1 apiece. And Bill Hands coming back out, and he will be facing Greg Luzinski to start things off. 6 is in play, 05, and an in play 05 is going to be a double for Greg Luzinski. And this may be a one and done. I may not do this kind of setup anymore because I might just go back and do analog, as they say, and just keep it at pen and paper and not worry about showing anything on the computer. Here is Hutton. 9 is tough. 97, though, is going to be a fly to right field. Now the question is, what kind of fly ball is it? We're going to check the fast action cards. Fly ball out. Let's see here. On the outfielder, possible double play. We're not going to worry about sending a runner to third. Luzinski is not a wheels guy, so I'm not going to deal with that. We're just going to have a fly out, and we're not going to risk anything like that. So Luzinski will hold, and they'll depend on Don Money to get something done. So Luzinski got to write in the double again. So here's Money. That's an 11, and that's tough. 68. Tough 68 out of range. 68's ground ball to second. That'll get Luzinski to third base, but now there are 2 away. So 2 down, and it's going to be all up to Ron Stone. Nine is tough. 10, boy, that's a strikeout big time, and that's going to end the inning. So they strand Luzinski at third, come away empty-handed. We go to the 5th. This score sheet's pretty messy, I admit it, because I'm trying to multitask here, and it's not working as well as I had hoped, obviously. But that's why you do trial and error, just to try things out, mix things up a bit. Cardinal against Carlton. 3 is defense. Defense, so who are we checking? We are checking the first baseman for an error. So we're checking the Tom Hutton for an error. It's an error check on Tom Hutton. Hutton's error rating is a 4. So we go to the ballpark card. 1 to 20 will be an error. Anything higher than that, he makes the play. And that's a 42, so he will make the play. He will get it and flip it to Carlton covering. And that will be out number 1. That'll bring up Randy Hundley, the catcher. 7, that's in play, but a 45 is way out of range. 45 is actually going to be a ground ball to Hutton. This time he'll take it to the bag himself. 3 unassisted for out number 2. And here's Rick Monday. Monday is up with 2 outs and the bases clear. 7 is in play. 18 against a lefty. That's a base hit for Rick Monday. But Rick Monday gets that 2-out single. He's actually gotten on base twice, and what that does, if nothing else, it'll let Bill Hands bat for himself and clear him out this inning. He is only a pitcher hitting card number 1, so obviously the worst you can have. Let's see what Carlton does here. 9 is ballpark, and that's an 11. It's in the wheelhouse. Unbelievable. It's in the wheelhouse. 9 or less is the only way he gets a hit. That's an 87, so that's going to be a ground ball to short. Would have been a strikeout without the wheelhouse, but if it had been a tough or something, but it's just going to be a fly to left field to end the inning. So fly to left takes care of that. We go to the bottom of the 5th. Still tied at 1 apiece. Hands back out. He has a 7 fatigue. Carlton has a fatigue of 8. So Denny Doyle. It'll be Doyle, Carlton, and Boa due up in this 1-to-1 game. 10 is ballpark. 97, though, is going to be in play. We go to Doyle on the in play. He needs a 32 or less. Gets a 24, so that's a base hit. Oops. Base hit for Denny Doyle. Leadoff single for Denny Doyle. And that will allow Carlton to bunt again. So Carlton is a C bunter. So we'll go straight to the fast action card for a C bunter. And that is a pop out to the first baseman, so it's a failed bunt attempt on a sacrifice. So Carlton will pop it up to Hickman, but Doyle will make it back to second base, or to first base rather, without getting doubled off. And now we're back to the top of the order and Larry Boa. So Carlton does not help his own cause. Boa and 8 is tough 26. Tough 26 is a base hit for Larry Boa. Check base runner advancement. Single, runner on first advances one base. So just a one base advancement. It's going to bring up first and second with one out. Phillies might have something going here. Here's Tim McCarver. Four is in play. McCarver 22 on the in play is a base hit. Runner advancement. Run on second scores. Runner on first advances two bases. So it's a single plus plus. And that will put the Phillies in the lead by the score of 2-1. Tim McCarver comes through with a base hit. So base hit for Boa, and then a base hit for Carlton, and that's going to score, or not Carlton, for McCarver. That's going to score Doyle to make it 2-1 Phillies. And now we got Willie Montañez. Runners on the corners and one out. They're going to play back for the double play. Let's see what happens with that. Hands, 7 is patient, 19, and that's a walk, so that's going to load the bases. Bases are now loaded for Greg Luzinski. Again, they're playing back for the double play. Luzinski has a double play rating of 8, so it's a good chance to get that double play. 9 is tough, 87 though, tough 87. Yep, it's a ground ball to short. That's a 9 though, so you won't get it. It'll be a fielder's choice. 9 exceeds the 7 and the 8. So that's going to be just a fielder's choice ground ball. I know some people re-roll that, but I keep the original roll. Fielder's choice, and the ground ball went to short, so it's a 6-4 fielder's choice. And that puts the Phillies ahead 3-1. RBI ground out from Luzinski. Fielder's choice. Montañez is out at second, 6-4, but scoring on the play is Boa. It's an RBI ground out for Luzinski, and McCarver is at third with Luzinski at first. 2 down, 3-1 game now, and here's Tom Hutton. 7 is patient, 24, and that's going to be a base on balls, and it's going to reload the bases. Bases are loaded again, this time for Don Money. Don Money up with the bases loaded and 2 outs. Phillies trying to blow it open. 8 is tough, 48. And look at that, Don Money fights off a tough pitch and gets a base hit. And so one base advance, runner on second could try to advance. Montañez. Actually, no, it's Luzinski's at second, isn't he? We're not gonna push anything with Luzinski. It's going to be a station-to-station deal, even with 2 outs. You're not going to try to get Wheels Luzinski to score on that. It's 4-1 though. RBI single from Don Money, and now the 9th man to bat in the inning is Ron Stone. So bases remain loaded with 2 outs for Ron Stone. Now the Cub bullpen starting to stir a bit. Stone. 4 is in play, 82. That'll end the inning. That will be a ground ball to second. And that'll take care of everybody. Oh, 4-1 game after 6 complete. As the Phillies sent 9 to the plate and scored 3 of them. Carlton now will face the top of the order, Kessinger, Beckert, and Williams. And we'll figure out what Hand's fate is later on, whether he comes back or not. 6 is patient. 0-1, that'll be a walk to Kessinger, not what Carlton wanted. Don't want to walk people with the bases with a lead like this. He steals at a 3 to get the jump, but that's a 6, so he can't get the jump. He'll hold. And that'll send up. That's the second walk for Carlton. He only has 4 strikeouts, not 5. It's an error on the screen there because I input something wrong, which I will fix later. Beckert. 7 is in play, 24. In play 24 is a base hit for Beckert. Runner on first advances one base. So it's a single to left field, but it only gets a one base advancement. But the Cubs have the first two guys on via a walk and a single. And here come the heart of the order, Billy Williams. Ron Santo is not on the roster for this game. I'm not sure if he's injured. I guess he's injured or something. I don't know. But he's not on the Cubs roster at this particular point in time, in case you're curious. Here's Billy Williams. 5 is tough. 10, that'll be a strikeout. Much needed strikeout for Carlton, big time. He needed that first out. Now double play could get him out of the inning. Jim Hickman, decent double play chance there with a 7. That's a 12 on Carlton. That's tough. 42, and that's a strikeout. The last number in the strikeout range for Hickman. And Carlton will record strikeout number 6. That's 6 strikeouts for Carlton. And that brings up Carmen Fan Zone. 12 is tough again. 45. But a tough 45 for Fan Zone is a base hit. Checking runner advancement. Runner on first. Runner on second advances one base and could try to score. Kessinger is a 7. Let's see. Did the single? Where'd the single go? Single to left field. Luzinski's not the greatest arm in the world. There are 2 outs. So there are a lot of times that people play if the guy has a run rating of 6 or higher, he scores. I usually make that 7 or higher. Kessinger has a 7, so I will allow him to score. Figuring that's more realistic because Luzinski's not going to be able to throw him out. With 2 outs, he gets a jump right off the get-go, and if he's got any speed at all, he's going to score. So that's an RBI single off the bat of Carmen Fan Zone. Cuts the lead to 4-2 for Jose Cardinal. Carlton at 8 is tough, 40, and that's a base hit for Cardinal, 36-45. That is a single. Runner on second can advance again. The single is to center field this time, and the runner is Beckert. Beckert runs at a 7, so with 2 outs, he's going to score. Going to allow that as well with 2 outs. So the single. And we got a 4-3 game all of a sudden. And here's Randy Hundley. First and second, 2 outs. A lot of 2-out magic here by the Cubs. 5 is tough, 88. Tough 88 is going to be a ground ball to short. And that will take care of it. But 2 runs come in for the Cubbies. And they now lead it, or trail it now, only 4-3. Hands will come out and pitch the bottom of the 6th. He's scheduled to bat second next inning, so they're going to see if they can sneak one more inning out of him. Here's Denny Doyle. According to the computer, it says hands is strong, so we'll see. 10 is ballpark. 93 is going to be an in play, so we go to in play. Doyle needs a 42 or less. He gets a 10, so that's going to be a base hit. Base hit for Denny Doyle. Doyle reaches, and that brings up the pitcher. Once again, Carlton with a chance to bunt. Since Doyle's reached all 3 times, it's allowing Carlton to bunt. So he's a C bunter, and that's going to be a good sacrifice to third base. So 5-4 on the sacrifice will send Doyle to second base on that sacrifice bunt. 5-4. 1 down and back to the top of the order for Larry Boa. Philly's looking to get some insurance here in this bottom of the 6th. 6 is in play. 15, that's going to be a base hit for Larry Boa. Runner on second advances 1 base, so it's going to be runners on the corners with 1 out. Larry Boa getting his 3rd hit of the game, including a triple. And it's going to bring up Tim McCarver. Cubbies playing the infield for the double play. McCarver is a good double play candidate. They're going to try to turn 2. 3 is in play, 78. 78 is a fly to center, though. Fly to center. Let's check the depth of the fly ball. It's a deep fly to center field, so that will be a sacrifice fly to center field for Tim McCarver. Since it was a deep fly, it's a sacrifice fly to center. Scoring is going to be Denny Doyle. And the Phillies get one of those runs back. It's now 5-4. Or 5-3, rather. 5-3. And here's Montañez. 6 is in play. 96. That's going to be a fly to right. And that will end the inning. And that'll do it for Bill Hands. So we'll cap Bill Hands at 6 innings. He's going to give up 10 hits and 5 runs, all earned. No long balls, but let's check his walks and strikeouts. Let's see, he struck out 1, 2. He only struck out 2 according to my sheet. He walked 2 there. That's the only 2 I see. So it looks like 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. So we'll get a pinch hitter for Bill Hands as we start the top of the 7th. It'll be, well, first it'll be Monday and then Hands. So let's check the bench for the Cubs. And these are the active players they have available. They have 2 right-handers, Ken Rudolph and Frank Fernandez, not very good. A couple of switch hitters, Paul Popovich and Bill North. Then the left-handers, Gene Heiser, Art Shamsky, and J.C. Martin. So it's not a whole lot there on the bench. And as we're looking at the best players they have, they're going to use Ken Rudolph. They're carrying 3 catchers, so we can afford to use a catcher as a pinch hitter. So Ken Rudolph will pinch hit for Bill Hands when the time comes. But right now we are looking at Rick Monday facing Carlton here in the top of the 7th. 10, and that is tough. 17, and that's going to be a strikeout. So a strikeout for Steve Carlton, and that will send up Ken Rudolph to pinch hit. So Rudolph will get the call to pinch hit for Mr. Hands. Ken Rudolph. So Rudolph it is. And Rudolph, 7 for Carlton's in play. 78, definitely out of range. That's a fly to center field. And Rudolph is retired. 2 down. He failed in the pinch hitting performance. And now that brings up Kessinger. Kessinger is 1 out of 2, including a triple. Get a 5, which is tough. It's 28. Tough 28. He just missed it. 27 would have been a hit. 28 instead is a pop up to second base where Denny Doyle has it. And that will take care of the Cubs here in the top of the 7th. We'll go to the 7th inning stretch, and we're going to have to get a new pitcher for the Cubbies. So let's look at their bullpen and see who they have available out of that bullpen. These are the active pitchers in their bullpen. They have 1 right-hander in Tom Phoebus, 3 lefties, Juan Pizarro, Dan McGinn, and Steve Hamilton. Due up for the Phillies, we got Luzinski, Hutton, and Money, and then Stone and Doyle, so some lefties after that. So they may get to a lefty here. Might very well go to a lefty. And let's see who they might go to. Looks like they're going to go to Juan Pizarro. So Juan Pizarro will be your pitcher. He will come in for the Cubbies. Mr. Pizarro. He can be a starting pitcher, but he doesn't. His next start's not until May 26th. So that's 9 days away. So he is going to be able to relief, no problem. So he'll be facing Greg Luzinski, though. Start things out, Mr. Pizarro. Facing Luzinski. You're going to start the bottom of the 7th. 3 is wheelhouse. Right off the bat, he puts one in the wheelhouse. That's an 0-2. Luzinski doesn't miss it. That's gone. Greg Luzinski greets Pizarro with a home run. And for Luzinski, that is his 3rd home run of the replay, as he blasted that one. Pizarro put it in the wheelhouse, and that 0-2 means Luzinski did not miss it. So that'll bring up Tom Hutton. Now a 6-3 game. 6 is tough. 34 against a lefty. Tough 34. Hutton's going to sneak out a base hit. So Pizarro not doing so well. Here's Don Money. 9 is in play. 87. That's a ground ball to short. Possible double play, but that's a 9. He's a 6 and a 7, so it will be a fielder's choice. Let's see here. Fielder's choice. Hutton singled. But now it's a fielder's choice. It's going to go with that 87. It's going to go to short, so it's a 6-4 fielder's choice. And they get the lead runner on that fielder's choice. And that'll send up Ron Stone with now Don Money at first base with 1 out. Lefty-lefty matchup again. 5 is Patient, 64, and that's going to be a walk. So he's going to walk the lefty Ron Stone. So the lefty-lefty matchup didn't help him there. Here comes another lefty-lefty with Denny Doyle. First and second, 1 out. Denny Doyle, your batter. Another lefty-lefty. 11 is in play, 79. That's going to be a fly ball to center field. Fly ball to center field for out number 2. And now it's Carlton. He's going to actually get a chance to bat this time instead of doing all this bunting. He does use pitcher hitting card number 10, so he's in this far right-hand column. Gets his first actual at bat of the game. 7 is Patient, 77. Patient 77 is going to be a fly to center, and that will end the inning. So Pizarro gives up the home run, but caps it at just the 1 run. And we go to the 8th inning, score 6-3. Phillies with that lead. This will be the inning to check on Carlton for fatigue. And he'll be facing Beckert, Williams, and Hickman for the Cubbies. 6-3 Phillies, top of the 8th. That's an 11, which is tough on Carlton. And 0-1, that's definitely a strikeout, no question about it. And for Carlton, that is strikeout number 8. I know it says 9 on the computer, but like I said, I entered that 1 by mistake. So this at bat right here was entered as a strikeout, and it shouldn't have been. So I'll fix it when the game's over. When the stream is over, when the recording's over, I'll go behind the scenes and fix it. All right, here is Billy Williams. That's a 3. And 3 is defense, so we're checking the defense, and we're looking for an error chance on Denny Doyle at second base. Denny Doyle, his error rating is a 4, which means a 1 to 20, it's an error. Anything higher than 20, he makes the play. That's a 59, so he does make the play. He does make the play for out number 2. Sometimes I'll flip another fact card to see if it was a ground ball or pop up, but in this case I'm just going to let it slide because I'm not doing defensive stats for opposing teams or anything. I don't care about that. Don't care about that for the Phillies either. I just care about Carlton. All right, here's Hickman. 8 is tough, 63. That's out of range. 63 is a ground ball to Doyle, and that will end the inning. So we go to the bottom of the 8th in a 6-3 ball game. I did notice that Carlton had, at least on the Action PC game, had gone to a red coloring. So it could be they're starting to tire. It's, you know, Anybody's guess on that. Pizarro, he's got a long relief rating, so he's not going to be tired. He's going to face Larry Boa. So we may get bullpen activity for the Phillies. If we look at the Philly bullpen and who they have available that they could possibly use, they got 3 right-handers they can go to: Barry Lersch, Wayne Twitchell, and Bucky Brandon. And they also have 3 lefties: Ken Reynolds, Chris Short, and Joe Horner. Joe Horner had 3 saves. Let's see. Bucky Brandon had 2. Twitchell had, so they kind of did it by committee. So I'm not really sure if they have to substitute who I'd go to here. Might be matchup based. So here is Boa. That's a 10, which is tough. 85, and that's going to be a ground ball to short. Handled by Kessinger. And there's one away. Brings up McCarver. That's a 7 and a 55. 7 is patient. 55, that's a walk. Carver drawing the base on balls. And that'll send us to Mr. Montañez, another lefty on lefty matchup. We might get a right-hander to come in and face Luzinski. Here's Montañez. 6 is tough. 88. That's a ground ball to second. They might get a double play out of it. His double play is a 5. His is a 7. That's a 6. So it's not going to be a double play. It will be a fielder's choice. And let's see, 88 says it went to second base, so it's a 4 to 6 fielder's choice. And now the Cubs will make a move to their bullpen. They do not want Pizarro to face Luzinski. He gave up a home run the first time he faced him, so we're going to pull Pizarro. He's going to go 2 2/3. Actually, 1 1/3. My bad. 1 1/3 for Pizarro. Going to go 1 1/3, give up 2 hits. And he ended up walking 2. And he didn't strike out anybody. Giving up just the 1 run, but he is responsible for Montañez. So we go back to the Cub bullpen. And they go to their one right-hander, Tom Phoebus. He's the only right-hander they have on staff that's active at the moment, other than starting pitching. So Tom Phoebus will be on. And we'll bring him on in the computer. So Phoebus will come on and pitch for Pizarro. Tom Phoebus. So Phoebus will be facing Greg Luzinski to try to get out of the inning and keep the score where it is at 6-3. That is a 3, and that's wheel. Boy, Phoebus. You know, when Luzinski was batting, Pizarro had the wheelhouse to bat at 3, and now Phoebus has it at 3. 71. This won't be a home run, but it will be a single for Greg Luzinski. Run on first, it says advances 1 base. So Montañez will only get the 1 base, but Luzinski gets the base hit. But that's a second wheelhouse check in a row by Luzinski. And here's Tom Hutton. Luzinski with his 3rd hit of the game. Several Phillies have had 3 hits in this game. Here's Hutton. 6 is patient, and 11, that's going to be a walk. So Mr. Phoebus is not helping the cause. Now all of a sudden bases are loaded with 2 outs for Don Money. Money looking to blow this game wide open. That's a 9. That's tough. 70, so he won't blow it open. 70 will be a ground ball to second to end the inning. So we go to the top of the 9th, and they will go ahead and pull Carlton. They'll hold him. They'll cap him at the 8-inning mark. So Pizarro was charged with just the 1 run. So Carlton is going to go, score sheet up a little bit, maybe if you can see it, 8 innings. my dice tray out of the way. You might be able to see it even better. 8 innings. He's going to give up 5 hits, 3 runs. And let's see, walks. Carlton, let's see here. Well, first of all, let's finish out the Don Money inning, which I thought I'd done that already. Why is it not doing that? I did ground ball second. Alright, let's see here. Didn't want to act right for me apparently. Now we go there. Okay, so Carlton, 2 walks and 8 strikeouts. It is a save situation. I did not write in what Hickman did, so let's go to the reports and get that real quick so I can clean that up during the play-by-play. Yet another time where I messed that up. Hickman grounded out to second base, so he did a 4-3. Alright, so it's going to be Fan Zone, Cardinal, and Hundley. At least those are scheduled hitters. Who do you go to, though, is the question. They're going to go to Bucky Brandon. Bucky Brandon is going to come on and pitch for the Phillies. So we'll bring in Bucky Brandon. And there might be a double switch to get Luzinski out of left field as well. So let's look at a potential double switch here with Bucky Brandon. So we're going to go into the computer and cause a double switch to have him bat in Luzinski's spot. And now we need a new left fielder for Luzinski, and it's going to be Roger Freed. So Roger Freed takes over in left field, and he will bat in the number 9 position. And Mr. Brandon will hit in the 4th position from Luzinski. So that's the way we have it for the Cubs. Carmen Fan Zone will be up to bat. We'll see if they want to do any pinch hitting or not. Let me make sure I've got the thing here where I need it. Alright. So let's see if they want to do anything with Fan Zone. Fan Zone. Carmen Fan Zone. Hit only .213 against righties. I'm not sure they had. We looked previously and they didn't have a whole lot in the bullpen. They did have a couple of lefties, but they're still not very good. Gene Heiser is decent, I guess. Bill North's not that good. J.C. Martin's pretty decent. He's the last catcher on the roster. So I'm not sure what we're going to do with that. We're going to have Fan Zone, Cardinal, and Hundley. Fan Zone on the game is 1 for 3. They're going to bring in Gene Heiser to hit for Fan Zone just to try to get something going. Gene Heiser. So Heiser will hit for Fan Zone. Gene Heiser will get the call to pinch hit. So we'll go to the bench for the Cubbies. Get in Gene Heiser. And Bucky Brandon starting things off against Gene Heiser. Get a 7, which is in play, 50. That's out of range. 50 is a ground ball to third. Don Money is there. 1 away. So Heiser fails in the pinch. Here's Jose Cardinal. Cardinal. 1 for 3 with a run batted in. 7 is in play, but a 94 is going to make that a fly to left. And that will take it to our final out. Randy Hundley, last chance for the Cubbies is Randy Hundley. That's a 5, which is tough. 85, and that will be a ground ball to short, and that will do it. That is the ball game. Ground ball to short will do it. Phillies beat the Cubs. Phillies beat the Cubs by the score of 6-3. 6-3 ball game. Not sure what Cardinal did. It didn't really matter at this point. So 6-3 your final, as we get the line score. 6 runs, 13 hits, no errors for the Phillies. 3 runs, 5 hits, and no errors for the Cubbies. Go to our box score and see what takes place. And go to our pitching line. That's more important because we're checking Carlton. Well, actually, Brandon went 1 inning. He did get the save. Carlton gets the win to go to 6-1 in his 8th start. Bucky Brandon just pitched 1, 2, 3 in the 9th. So Steve Carlton now 6-1. His ERA is 1.67. And so that's what we got. So let me see if I can bring this on to be able to see it. I'm going to try it. See if I can get it to work. We'll see. Alright, so I think, and the key phrase there is think, that you can see this. Carlton 6-1, 5 hits, 3 earned runs, 2 walks. It should be 8 strikeouts. I'm going to see if I can go ahead and fix that somehow in his stats in the background. That should be only 8 strikeouts, not 9. But more importantly, he gets the win and goes to 6-1 and lowers his ERA to, well, I'm not sure if it's lowered or it might have been raised, I'm not sure. But we'll look at what's ahead for Steve Carlton. That was start number 8. If we look ahead to start number 9, this was May 17th, 1972. Next start will be May 21st, and he'll still be here at the Vet against the New York Mets. He'll be opposing Tom Seaver, so a great pitching matchup there. And in that game, the Mets beat the Phillies 4-3 real world, and Carlton suffered his 4th loss. He dropped to 5-4 at that time. Right now, he is 6-1. So Carlton against Mr. Tom Seaver. And that'll be our next game in the Steve Carlton replay. Will be start number 9 for Steve Carlton. So he finishes this 6-1. I don't know how this is going to turn out. I'll check on it after I look at the recording and see whether I want to upload this or not. If not, I'll just consider this game played offline and go back to our analog for the Tom Seaver game. So until next time, enjoy playing whatever game you choose to play. However you choose to play it, I will see you all down the road.